All right, so we're back with the semifinals, in fact, of the Carnage Cup, Caran-Lambar's Carnage Cup, to be more precise. And things are heating up. In fact, things are in peak heat mode. Both semifinals have been played already, and only the finals are left. And this was from the second semifinal match, and in particular, this was game four. So let me just firstly introduce the players over here. So on the left-hand side of the map Izuhara, which we will talk about because this is one of my favorite new maps done by Bomber for Ado. But anyway, so on the left-hand side, we've got Carliber, who's playing for Rivendell, and he's going for two orchards, Rivendell Forge, or rather, yeah, exactly that, Rivendell Forge, into a Breland encampment. And on the right hand side, we've got alexshellnot, playing for the faction Isengard with a very, very curious opener. And this was like when I saw this opener. This game has already been played, obviously, since I'm casting a replay right now. And I was watching it live. I will not spoil the end result with you just yet until the very end. But when I was watching this live, I saw the work and I was like, huh? Because this was such a non-standard opening, I feel, especially in this matchup where Wildman can cause so much trouble to Rivendell. But yeah, so Alex is opening with three furnaces into the work pit, getting one battalion of Orc scouts, and adding the fourth furnace. Um, And meanwhile, Carliber has already built his first battalion of Bounders and is going to try to harass Alex's base. He's also built a battalion of Breland Townsguard, and evidently he's going to try to creep with that, which is a good idea. This map has 4 creeps, which can generate a lot of money for you in the beginning of the game. All 4 are war creeps, so fairly straightforward to creep with any type of pike battalion. So Alex is starting to, hit Carliber's economy with Uruk scouts on sword mode. That is a like that is a non-standard choice if I've ever seen one. Um, I gotta be honest with you, I don't like this opener from Alex. But let's see what his plan is. But because certainly, if he's opening like this, then he has played like this before, and I would assume he knows what he's doing. Like he has a plan, so to speak. So yeah, so obviously, you know, Carliber on the other side of things, was likely expecting Wildman, and he hasn't gone for any ability. I was just checking to see if he has gone for the Rivendell, Palantir, which reveals Shroud, Fog of War, on your enemy's base. So he was not aware that Alex, all this time, hadn't built a clan standing, and he's just finishing building it up rather. Sorry, right now. And on top of that, before he even built the clan standing, he went for a work pit and the first battalion of Warg Riders is about to hit the field shortly. In fact, it has already hit the field. I'm a little inattentive right now. So the second battalion is about to hit the field. And Carliber's builder is in a bit of danger right here, but he manages to save it. Good control over there. Also good control by Alex, not running into pikes. But yeah, so I'm fairly certain Carliber creeped the Warglair right here. For some reason did not creep here, but rather is going for Alex's creep, nominally speaking. But yeah, and so Warg Riders are starting to hit the field. The Uruk Scouts are kind of standing AFK here, which is also not an efficient thing to do. I'm just for the record, I'm trying to point out the mistakes of players, but obviously, as viewers, we need to forget that these are very high-paced games, especially on such maps. This is a pretty big map where you're controlling over like multiple sides. multiple flanks with multiple groupings of troops. It's not very easy to take care of everything all at once. So yeah, gotta keep that in mind and not be too critical of the player. Little miscontrols and inefficiencies here and there. So Carliber has the first battalion of Dunedain Outriders on the field. So he's gone for one brilliant encampment, one Dunedain gathering. He's also built a very early forge. I think it was his third or fourth resource structure. So it has already leveled up almost to level 2. So that's gonna come in handy if he opts to go for, for Noldor, for the actual Imladris elves later on, because those guys are obviously incredibly powerful with upgrades, with armor, with you know, I think it's called Tengvar inscribed blades. Indeed, I am correct. So anyway, pretty big engagement over here. Alex is going with Alex's firepower is essentially, by the way, Carliber is successfully taking out Alex's economy over here. So Alex's main firepower is scouts, which is good, in isolation, in a vacuum. Scouts are very strong, sure. But as I said, I just don't like going for them this early in the game. So Alex basically willingly plays this game from defense, which, I say that I'm not a fan of, but there's also the factor that this map is quite big, like it's actually like really big. So maybe he's not really sure about his harass potential. Like he's not sure that he can keep up the harass. Maybe he thinks that he's gonna feed more rather than take out the enemy's economy. So yeah, I'd really like to talk to him about the reasoning for why he went for this strat in this game, but I haven't had the opportunity to do so just yet. Okay, so Sharko has hit the field, and this I would say this is expedited by the fact that he didn't really spam that much, and he didn't trade his troops for the enemy resource structures, which obviously helped him have a lot more resources than he would usually have if harassing. On the other side, Carliber has gone for a very 7-3-1 meta, I would say. But I say that, and then you also need to take into account that this, like the fact that Alex has gone for the scout strategy justifies the choice of Dunedain, because if he had, had he gone for heavy, Dunland clan-stunning spam, Wildman unit spam, then I would presume that Turkish archers and generally sticking to hobbits in the beginning of the game would be a little bit more efficient, because you could match the Wildman spam kind of by price points, so to speak. So yeah, so first hero for Carliber is out on the field as well. That is Halbarad, which is a reasonable choice if you're going with a Dunedain strategy. And he pops out Dangado Hide, yeah, I've mentioned this multiple times already, but I'll say it again. All Horn or War Chant or this type of buffing tier 1 abilities have been nerfed, and they buff your troops by 25-25 rather than 50-50 like it used to be, which is one of the best nerfs, one of the best changes rather, on the patch, and makes games a lot more dynamic. But yeah, so I really don't think Carliber is gonna achieve much with this attack, and he loses. Is he gonna lose both battalions? Yes. Yeah, that is tough. That is tough. I don't think he really needed to dive in right there, into fortress range, especially because scouts have really good armor. Not once again, not in vacuum, but relative to other type of units that also have ranged attacks. Scouts have really good armor. Sharku is in a bit of danger here because Carliber has momentarily switched his Dunedain to pikes, but with I'm assuming he was in defensive stance while he was trying to escape, and only then changed to aggressive. So Carliber has gone for the very, very early library, although it's not early in the game, but he doesn't really have the eco. He's sitting on 450, and he doesn't really have that much CP on the field either. In fact, this is the entirety of his army. But yeah, he has already. Oh, actually not. I thought if the library is surrounded by trees, that's kind of the visual representation of the fact that Reverence of Yapana has been upgraded, but I was in fact wrong. He hasn't upgraded it just yet. But we see that he's going with the full Dunedain strategy, at least so far. Considering the fact that he has also built Strider. Let's see. So in terms of CP, Rivendell has 500 and 300 active on the field in terms of command points. He's got 9, so pretty close to tier 2. Let's see which one he goes with. And Isengard is leading in all aspects. He has higher CP limit, higher troop count on the field, and also is leading in power points by approximately 4. And he has foregone War Chant as well as Crebain, and he has gone just for Palantir and straight into Industry. I'm not going to commentate on that because it's really hard to say if that is a correct choice or not. Like these things, it entirely depends on the situation, on the match, on how the match goes. So you got to be able to that's one of the key skills I feel like in any RTS. Obviously you got to know your build orders, generally your builds, your matchup specifics and all that stuff, sure. But you also gotta be able to improvise and adapt to the situation. So not be dogmatic is what I'm trying to say. But yeah, so Alex is running around with one clump of troops right here. I'm pretty sure he's gonna get the builder, unless Carliber puts down a wall hub, which he does not manage to do in time. But yeah, so Sharku is in danger. Sharku is about to die. Oof, unlucky. And by saying unlucky, I mean you just miscontrolled there. But once again, they're playing Golf Host, so that kind of stuff happens. So Strider is back with his main grouping of troops, trying to support the main army, and 1 battalion of Dunedain Pikes are trying to harass Alex's economy over this side of the map. So Industry gives you a 300% buff for 5 full minutes. So this farm, which is level 3, gives you 112 resources, which is like huge money, especially for Isengard. Although I see that Alex hasn't gone for lumber mills just yet. Is about to be CP capped. And yeah, both players are actually neither wants to, and he's also got a Wolfgar on the field actually. And he has had Ugluk for a while. Ugluk was already running around with the troops when Alex was on this side of the map. So yeah, interesting. So Ugluk with Wolfgar. Wolfgar is obviously once again very 731 meta-ish. So I'm not sure about that choice. But yeah, so the Warg Riders rather have been quite successful in this match in harassing Carliber's economy. Carliber's Forge is at level 3 already, so he's gonna have access to his upgrades anyway. So both players are trying to harass right now. One on the Carliber on the right hand side of the map, and is gonna get this furnace, which has just leveled up to level 2, and Alex over this side of the map. Alex is not going to take down this orchard. I mean, he may, but he's gonna sacrifice a lot of works for it, and I'm not sure it's worth it. And now here's the thing. The entire stream chat was pretty shocked at this move. So he pops up the movement speed of Ugluk, his buff, or rather spell, to be more accurate, and goes for the fort. And he only has Wildman pikes, not Wildman with clubs, which, on which you can at least upgrade fire damage. But just scouts and Wildman, just Orc scouts and also Wildman pikes, and 2 heroes, one of which was a bit AFK even. And this was such a Hail Mary attack. Like, this was so risky, and as you can see, and predictably, it does not pay off. Ugla goes down. He loses his entire army. Wolfgar manages to escape. One, but like from that entire army that he had just a couple of minutes ago, only Wolfgar survived. One battalion of Uruk scouts, which can be cleaned up if Carliber pays attention to it and directs his Dunedain outriders to catch them. So meanwhile, he has managed to build Lurtz, which is a very good choice, especially if he plans to switch to Uruks, because obviously Lurtz gives them leadership, and Lurtz is a very, very useful hero by himself, and is also the main hero killer of Isengard, and that is especially useful against such a faction as Rivendell, that at least used to heavily rely on heroes. I think they still rely on heroes moderately heavily, but I don't think that it's as much as it used to be. Anyhow, so Alex has this Urpit to level 2. This one is level 1 just yet. And he also has the Dunlanding Longhouse, to which you gain access to after you build Wolfgar, obviously. So Carliber casts Remnant of the Old Kingdom, which is like a pretty standard terrain buff, 50-50. Let's see if this is going to be enough, because, his fighting under the fortress, particularly ballista range, is fighting against scouts that are buffed by lords. Of course, his guys are buffed by Strider as well, but I really don't think this is going to be enough. Like, scouts are really, really good. They're pretty tanky, they have decent damage, they don't miss, I can't remember specifically if they don't miss at all, or if it's like, I actually think they don't miss at all, to be honest, but don't quote me on that. And by saying don't miss, I'm referring to the mechanic of archer units, which have a hit percentage in terms of like what percentage of their arrows hit the target. So I think from that perspective, Orc scouts do not miss, I think. Anyhow, so as predicted, Alex manages to push out Carliber back to his base over here. And this industry is what's keeping him in the game. Well, to be honest, his eco is still better. Don't get me wrong. Like, Eisen eco is still better at this point than Rivendell. And I missed the moment that Glorfindel got out of the fortress. And yeah, that's a very interesting choice by Carliber. Usually players would go for Elrond for the additional leadership and all the good stuff that Elrond provides, but I didn't, I actually don't find this purchase to be bad. I actually feel like it's like, it makes sense that he goes for, he went for Glorfindel because of this thing, because Alex has been harassing his economy all game long. And Glorfindel can solo this entire pack. Like, he can kill both the Warg Riders and also Sharku, absolutely no problem. Especially if he levels up, off of some Isengard farm kills, furnace kills rather. Yeah, so Alex is switching to his late game army composition essentially. Scouts, Orc Pikes, Dunlending X-Men, which is, a very scary army. Does lose a builder over here. And Carliber's army, let's see what he goes for. He's going for the full Dunedain strategy, as I said. These guys are pikemen, the other half is in bow mode, and they're supported by Strider as well as Halberad. Glorfindel needs to be super careful. Losing him would be devastating. For Carliber, Orc pikemen are chasing Glorfindel, but he was attentive there, so does not lose him. At this point, I was like, there's no way he goes for the fortress once again. And in fact, he doesn't. Yeah, just to spoil it a couple of seconds ahead, he only goes for this level 3 orchard, which is a big, it's a big victory for him, local victory, so to speak. But he sacrifices so much for this. Like, getting a level 3 orchard is a huge win, but is it really worth it if you're losing essentially your entire army plus lords? Wolfgar should get mounted here and easily escape. but yeah, Lurtz died there. Um, but even despite that, look who's out on the field. It is Saruman. How did he get Saruman? Well, industry, level 3 farm. Very, very powerful. That is such a good eco boost. It allows you to go for your most elite troops. It allows you to spam out your heroes. Very powerful spell, or rather, PowerPoint ability. Okay, so Alex has chosen not to go into tier 3, but rather chose to, have Tainted Land, which is a good decision, I would say, because Carliber has Remnant of the Old Kingdom. And I only recently realized, well, by saying recently, I mean like a month ago maybe, that unlike 202, Age of the Ring terrain does not cancel each other. So both, like if Alex or if Carliber casts Remnant of the Old Kingdom, and Alex casts Tainted Land on top of it, both Carliber and Alex will get their respective buffs. So that's something to keep in mind of. So you don't really need to hold your terrain to kind of counter or cover the opponent's terrain. You can use it more liberally, so to speak. Yeah, so these guys supported by Saruman. Obviously, this is a very scary army. But Carliber's army isn't too shabby either. In fact, he has great company out on the field. He has upgraded Reverence of Yavanna, obviously, which you can see from this visual effect on orchards. And he obviously also has Lay of Lathan, since that's the only way you can get great company out on the field. He was probably trying to catch Glorfindel here, but obviously Carliber would not miscontrol that badly, and he also does not have Lurtz on the field. I think at this time, he just rebuilt Ugluk and also casted his industry buff once again. So yeah, so he doesn't have Lurtz to stun Glorfindel actually, and take him down. So yeah, Carliber is continuing with the Dunedain, Dunedain strategy. And Alex has 4K in the bank, can build a couple of heroes, particularly Lurtz. A purchase of Lurtz would be very handy. And also, I think his minimizing, he's not using his full potential by not building lumber mills, especially on such a map that has like lumber mills, right? Trees rather, not lumber mills. Right near your, in the back of your base in a fairly safe position. I think you could go for it pretty easily. Yeah, so Alex is trying to harass from two sides. That's the good stuff that you want to do as Isengard, and Glorfindel is just cleaning up his economy. Alex has dropped down to 550 and is CP locked. He cannot build troops. He can only build heroes, or upgrade tech and stuff like that, but cannot build troops. Does manage to take out the statue over here, crucially, not to get any additional, stats buffs to Carliber. But let's see, this is a big engagement. So this is what I was talking about. So both cast their terrain abilities, and both will have the benefit. And Carliber summons his tier 3, the Grey Pilgrim, and this was such a freaking epic moment. They used their, their AoE abilities at the same time. Saruman used his Wizard Blast, and Gandalf used his You Shall Not Pass to knock back the Isengard army, and just carnage, absolute chaos is happening over here. Saruman casts his Fireball, is already level 4. Gandalf, meanwhile, casts his the Foe Hammer on the Uruk scouts, which deals pretty decent damage, although does not kill them entirely. The Grey Company is leveling up. Halbarad is stunned by Lurtz. Lurtz is over here. Lurtz is probably gonna cast Carnage any second now. And for this fight, Alex gets access to Freezing Rain, and Gandalf casts his Disturber of the Peace, I think that was, on Saruman to knock him down, which he was successful with, and Aragorn activates his Fire Shall Be Woken, tries to chase down Saruman. Uruks are still alive over here, although shooting the building. That's one of the annoying things with Uruks, that they sometimes auto-attack buildings instead of the troops. But yeah, this engagement, damn, like that was such an epic engagement. But yeah, at this point, yeah, so Glorfindel is chasing after Saruman, but Alex has cast Palantir on him, so that has buffed his movement speed as Glorfindel is just, you know, derping around. He could not catch Saruman over there, but I think that's more connected to his some mounted hero mechanic, which we'll not get into right here. So yeah, actually, Lurtz casts his cripple on Glorfindel as Glorfindel is toast. There's no way he gets out of the here. Yeah, work pike damage under Lurtz's leadership was way too much to deal with. But at this point, Carliber has no lower elves on the field. He's also upgraded his dormitory, Rivendell dormitory, to level 3. The purpose of which I'm not sure about. He probably wants the Cav or Kentari. But does he have the money? Yeah, he does. He actually does. You know, he also has the CP, so probably going for the Lorathelin units right here. Because I don't think Rokentari would be very useful here because, you know, Alex is making sure to be pretty heavy on the pike front. But yeah, so Carliber has 2 battalion of Noldor Elves, Grey Company, a couple battalions of Dunedain Outriders, Strider, and that's about it. I think he lost all his heroes except Strider, and especially Glorfindel was a painful loss because he's so good at, you know, killing heroes. But yeah, both are pretty close to tier. Actually, no. Scratch that. Carliber is very close to tier 4. And by saying very close, I mean like 6 points away, roughly. Alex is not, because Alex went for an additional tier 2, 2 tier 1s, and tier 3. So he's pretty far away. He still needs like roughly 20 points to get there. Starts pumping out units once again. And yeah, I feel like Carliber is very happy chilling in his base right now because Freezing Rain is active at the moment. So you really don't want to take an engagement while you're out of leaderships and also debuffed. And your opponent has a hell lot of leaderships and is buffed by you know, is buffed by them by Saruman, you know, armor to magic and elemental damage, although I'm not sure any of these guys deal such damage. Perhaps Grey Company might. I think Grey Company on spear mode deals frost damage or something like that. I can't remember specifically, so you know, Saruman's leadership is going to be effective against that at least. But yeah, I'm mostly talking about Lurtz and also obviously Wolfguard that buffs the Dunlanding unit. So his army is basically fully buffed over here. It's starting to lag a bit, fortunately. Yeah, so let's see. Isengard is approaching, you know, the maxed out phase. Although to this point, he hasn't gone for lumber mills, and also has not put down a forge. Well, he has, but it's just level 1. He has just basically put it down right now. And on the other hand, you know, Carliber's forge has been level 3 for ages at this point. Probably gonna lose another builder, indeed. Although Alex needs to make sure to retreat the wargs, not to feel any more power points, and not to, you know, help Carliber get to his tier 4 even quicker. But yeah, this army is, you know, this is a pretty good army, you know, and pretty good army for Rivendell. But Isengard's army looks so much scarier, especially with all the support, all the, you know, really tanky units. So also, and also Saruman, which ordinarily, you know, Saruman himself would not be too problematic, considering Rivendell has really good hero killing options. But since right now Rivendell doesn't really have many heroes in the field, in fact, I think it's only Strider. Well, and also a heroic unit, which are, you know, the Grey Company, which can deal pretty decent damage in ranged mode to Saruman, actually. But yeah, it's just like Carliber is a bit pressed right now, and but he does have the upgrade on the fortress, and let's see. His level 3 dormitory is dire danger right now, and boom, just like that. You had pikes, you don't have pikes, and these pikes, mind you, were buffed by 2 leaderships, Saruman as well as Lurtz, but they were toasted just like that. Strider is crippled. Beller's is crippled. Saruman casts his fireball. Glorfindel is back on the field. Carliber has access to his tier 4. Doesn't really have that many troops on the field though. Absolute carnage once again. This is why this game was so good. Like, these engagements were so epic. Glorfindel, uses his Revealed in Wrath. Everyone uses everything available to them. All hero abilities, all troop abilities. Like everything is used right now just to maximize the potential of your army. Glorfindel is absolutely wrecking people over here. But Great Company over here, oh man, that's a huge loss. Great Company is killed, and only the 2 heroes essentially are left with like 1 battalion of Dunedain over here. But yeah, somehow, he manages to repel this attack, and obviously the lightning strike from the fortress has a lot to do with that. Alex is starting to build up his work sentries on different sides of the map. What's also here and also one over here. But yeah, it's not at this point. It's not looking too good for Carliber, although he does have access to his tier 4. Come Merry Doll, which is the Tom Bombadil summon, and Tom Bombadil is very effective, obviously. But at this point, I think just like it's the industry, man. Like, I think Alex used it probably like 4 or 5 times during this game, and that generates just so many resources. And he did not even have lumber mills on the field. That's what I'm talking about. And even just by industry and furnaces, he was able to generate so many resources. And Carliber casts his Bombadil over here, tries to take out Carliber's production, which is the correct choice. He probably needs to take down this as well, indeed. But Alex is attacking over this side, and he's also crucially very close to his tier 4. In fact, he's gonna get it in any second now. And he's also got Freezing Rain anytime now. He's got Tainted Land. So if he casts the Lightning Strike on the fortress, then Tainted Land, then goes for the fortress, I don't think that Carliber can do anything to counter that. But Glorfindel over here with Tom Bombadil is still trying to take out the Eco. Yeah, there we go. Lightning Strike on the production, taking out the level 3 dormitory, and all is left is the fortress. And Bombadil, did take out the Uruk production. Also, Glorfindel followed it up by taking out the buffed furnace. But, the Isengard late game with such an economy is just too much to deal with. And yeah, that's how it went. I don't think there's much to analyze over there. I think most things were obvious. But yeah, that was a very epic game. Epic engagements in particular. It was very fun watching it live. This was game 4. And at this point, Carliber was leading 2-1. Alex made the score equal. So this was 2-2. And they went to game 5, the deciding match point. And I won't spoil the results of that. If you want to watch it, you can check it out on Jarian's YouTube channel, which I will link in the video description. And yeah, I think I'll just end the video over there, and see you guys on the next one.